Welcome. A bit late in the day to be welcoming you, but you know what I mean. Welcome to this talk about TSM, the two-subject moderatorship, which is Trinity's dual honours, primarily arts degree, but dual honours degree. I'll explain a bit more in a moment. My name's Murray McGowan. I'm the Professor of German, 1776. That's my title. That's when the chair was founded. It's a reminder, Trinity is a very old university, of course. And I'm also the director of the two-subject moderatorship degree program at the moment. And I'm going to talk to you for about 20 minutes just to explain the program a little bit. So, first of all, what is a two-subject moderatorship? I came here in the year 2000, and it seemed a rather bizarre title to me. There's not really much mystery to it. It's a degree. A moderatorship is a degree, at least in Trinity it is. And Trinity's TSM, two-subject moderatorship degree, is a very special two-subject joint honours degree, and I'll try to give you some flavour of that in the next few minutes. Basically, you combine the study of two subjects selected from a very wide range of possible choices. There are 25 subjects and 178 combinations. Not every possible, theoretically possible, combination is possible, but an awful lot are, 178 in all. And you can study according to one of two patterns, either pattern A or pattern B, and I'll come back to that in a moment and explain it a little bit to you. What kind of subjects can I choose? And this is the list of those 25 subjects at the moment. Ancient history and archaeology, classical civilization, drama studies, early Irish, economics, English literature, French, film studies, geography, German, Greek, history, history of art and architecture, Italian, Jewish and Islamic civilizations, mathematics, Latin, modern Irish, music, philosophy, psychology, Russian, sociology, Spanish, world religions and theology. I got a 5 the first time round in my GCE Latin. That may be why I missed it out the first time there, but I passed it second time. So. Why choose TSM at TCD? Why not do a vocational degree? It's a question people are often asking themselves, being asked by their careers advisors, being asked by their parents or whatever. And I think there are intrinsic reasons for choosing the TSM degree, and there are so-called transferable skills. And I'll say a little bit about both those two things now. Intrinsic reasons why you might consider choosing this degree at this university. First of all, if you love the subject, that's as good a reason as any. University studies about a passion for the subjects, engaging with them. One of the great things about university is you can really go into depth. You're not just conditioned by a syllabus and so on. You've got a fabulous library here as well. There's all sorts of reasons if you want to throw yourself into a subject or subjects to consider a degree like this, because you want to do the subjects. That's the best reason of all, I think. I'd like to combine two subjects. Similarly, this is a degree which facilitates that with 178 possibilities. I want to try a new subject. A lot of the TSM subjects you can start from scratch, subjects that are not always offered at school level. Philosophy, for example, often not available. Many subjects like that. Knowledge matters. You may think this is the case. If you do, knowledge matters. I want to acquire it. I want to share it. And this is the kind of degree that's very much for you. And also, a perfectly good reason, I'm not yet sure what I want to do when I graduate. This is not a vocational course. It doesn't commit you to a particular vocation at a time when you perhaps don't know yet. But as I want to show you in a moment, that doesn't mean that TSM degrees aren't an excellent qualification for a job. They are. On courses such as TSM, you also learn so-called transferable skills as well as the particular subjects you study. That's skills learnt in one context that can be transferred to another context. Now, lots of degrees do this. It's not unique to this one, but it is certainly the case with this one as well. What we mean by transferable skills, what use are they, is the fact that employers are very much looking for these things. They're often looking for these things more than for a particular subject. And they're things such as good communication skills, good interpersonal skills, being able to relate on all kinds of levels to other people, good presentation skills, problem-solving skills of various kinds, and writing essays, researching essays, putting together presentations. These are all very useful life skills, and they're part of the teaching and learning process here. As at many universities, I'm not saying we're unique in that, of course we're not. Team working skills, influencing and negotiating skills, flexibility and independence. These are all things that employers look for, and when they're surveyed, they will often mention these things way ahead of any particular discipline. This is what they're looking for. And we believe that this degree, many degrees at Trinity and elsewhere, of course, train precisely these things. So that combination of the subjects you really want to do and that give you a passion with a degree program that fosters these kinds of competencies and skills is really what this is about. I've just reduced them there a little bit to the left because I believe that the way we teach here and the way we encourage you to study and the way we encourage you to present your ideas help you to develop precisely these skills. And they can be as important as the subject of your degree is. This is a quote from the Irish Times, a letter to the Irish Times by a recruitment consultant in 2007, so it's not just me saying this. And this recruitment consultant says, the most employable graduates are those who, quote, have developed first-rate minds by studying what they had a passion for, and then applied those minds to a career where they thrived. And it's that combination that we try to offer you. So the subjects you want to do, but also the skills which you can apply later. If you look at employment, can somebody cut the lights? Can you read this at the back? The light's a bit. Can you read it? It is okay, is it? It looks a bit faint to me. I just want to sort of underline my point. This is the employment rates in various broad areas of academic study. This is the surveys from the mid-2000s. It hasn't actually changed, though. Now, right at the top, you can see that medicine, dentistry, veterinary science have, of course, they're out off the scale in sense of employment because they're such a focused vocational course. But all the other subjects, whether they be technological, business, scientific, or arts and humanities, social science studies, are all more or less the same. They're all at about 90%. The point I'm making is not arts degrees are even more it's not a competition. You're not more employable than people in other fields, but you're also not less employable. And so that really shouldn't be the driving force. It's what you want to study that really matters. Okay, coming back to the degree program, TSM degree program. There are these two possibilities, pattern A, pattern B. With pattern A, you study both subjects for 4 years. Pattern B, you study both subjects for 3 years, and then one of them for the 4th year. Most students choose pattern B. And it's only fair to say that pattern A is not available in every combination. If you think you might want to study both subjects for 4 years, it's worth having a look in the making an inquiry with the TSM office. I'll tell you where to contact them, or having a look at the prospectus and so on in advance. However, you don't have to finally make up your mind what pattern you elect immediately. So, but the typical TSM student is studying pattern B. Pattern A, hope to be relatively straightforward. You're doing sociology and geography, you do the same through all 4 years of the program. Again, Trinity has these odd names: junior freshman, junior sophister, senior sophister, first, second, third, 4th year. It's the same each year. I hope you can grasp that structure. If not, you possibly shouldn't be here. Okay? Pattern B, not really much more complicated. Let's say it's psychology and English literature. You'd study both subjects equally for 3 years, and then during your 3rd year, you would choose whether you major in psychology or English literature, and then in the 4th year, you just study that subject. What this is trying to do is, in a sense, give you the best of a dual honours degree and a single honours degree at the same time, because in your 4th year, you'll be working just on that one subject. You do a dissertation in that subject, you do specialist options, and really you develop a real knowledge in depth in both subjects, but particularly in the subject that you major in your 4th year. Okay, a few more thoughts about why you might choose this degree program. The broad range of subject combinations that I've mentioned. You choose your subjects when applying. So if you get in, you know you've got those 2 subjects. It's a 4-year course. It's an honours degree in 2 subjects with the chance to specialise in 1. And there is also optional study abroad for up to 1 year, sometimes a semester, so half a year, sometimes a full year, on an Erasmus or similar scheme, which is accredited as part of your degree. And this doesn't just apply to students of languages. Any student where there is an Erasmus program in the subject, and there is in most of them, possibly in all of them, has that option. Another reason I think for choosing TSM is the stimulation of studying alongside fellow students who are doing a different combination to you. They're doing one of the subjects that you're doing and something else. And so you're rubbing shoulders with them, you're rubbing shoulders with the ideas that they're picking up from the other subject and the methods of studying, the methods of learning, the methods of structuring knowledge and everything. So you're almost getting some of the benefit of their subjects even though you're not studying them as well. And I think most TSM students would confirm that's part of the positive side of the program, precisely that. Another reason is that although there are a few of these massive lectures, this isn't a massive one, the Burke Theatre downstairs is even bigger than this one, and it can be a bit intimidating when you're in there with 600 students. There are very few of those though in the TSM program. Most of our teaching is done in small lectures or actual small groups, seminar groups, language tutorials and so on. Smaller group teaching is much more typical. It's not mass education in that sense. And then, of course, there's the so-called Trinity experience. You hear a lot about this in the college's marketing, but there's a fundamental truth to some of it. It is a beautiful campus. It's in the middle of a thriving, bustling city. It has got some extraordinary buildings. In the middle here, you've got the long room, which is the old library, which is one of the most extraordinary spaces in the world, frankly. I've been here 12 years now. I go in there several times a month, and I'm still astonished every time I go into it. In fact, it takes your breath away. It's an amazing building. It's a great privilege to be in Trinity and to sort of share that on a daily basis almost. It's even so impressive. I don't know if you're any Star Wars fans here, but this is from Attack of the Clones. And I'm sure you can, if you look at the library there, they've obviously nicked it, haven't they? Isn't that that's the long room, isn't it? I think so. With a cathedral window at the end, which comes from somewhere else. Okay, so you've got the Trinity experience, I would summarise as an ancient university in the heart of a vibrant capital city. All kinds of extracurricular activities, clubs and societies for which Trinity is also famous, student-run societies. Studying with internationally excellent scholars who are devoted to teaching as well as research. One of Trinity's fundamental principles is the notion of the scholar-teacher, that you're being taught by people who are researching and that the researchers are also teaching. They're not two parallel universes, which is not unknown in some places. And also degrees that develop your independence of mind, your critical intelligence and your creativity, as well as give you knowledge. And back to the transferable skills there. Again, not just as something that will get you a job, but as something that develops you as a person, whatever job you do afterwards. Some of these qualities are really, really wonderful things to have. Okay, you graduate. It's a time to celebrate. What then? What happens? What do Trinity graduates do? And I want to give you just a little bit of a flavour of that. If you're Carrie-Anne Moss, you have the option, of course, of taking on your alma mater and becoming a character in the Matrix. I don't know if you picked up this reference to Trinity. The word just above the Matrix there, it does say Trinity, believe me, and that is her name in the Matrix. That's her character's name. But many of us don't quite have the characteristics for this kind of work, do we? And so you may want to explore other options, and let's have a look at some of those. Where will a Trinity TSM degree take me? First thing, some 50% of all graduate jobs advertised don't actually specify a particular degree subject. We're back to the point I made earlier, that the quality of the training and education you have can matter as much as the subject. So how well you do and where are every bit as important as having studied a particular vocational subject. I'm not in any sense criticising vocational degrees. Some people know from a very early age exactly what they want to do, and they do that with a passion, and that's absolutely fine. But I'm talking about the person who perhaps slightly unwillingly does a vocational program because they're not quite sure whether they want to or not, they don't do very well at it. The high-performing, high-achieving TSM or other arts and humanities graduate who did what they wanted, got a good degree, will outperform that person every time. And employers would much prefer the person like that. The person who's done well, has shown they're motivated, and so on. Okay, so choose the subjects that really fire you, whether it's this degree or something else. That's advice I give to any potential student. Something that you can make the best of in your 4 years, something you want to devote your time to. And also be ready for further study, be ready for further training, be ready for job mobility. The jargon words nowadays, life as well as transferable skills, are lifelong learning and also portfolio careers, the notion that you may change jobs several times during your working life, not just change employers, but actually change into a radically new field. Okay, just some samples of employers who target all disciplines. You've got the firms in the media, in the information technology area. In the first list, you've got big companies such as Irish Distillers or Mars or Smurfit. You've got the accountancy firms and the management consultancy firms, life insurance, and finally the retail industry. They all target, they don't specifically target specific subjects. They're interested in people with good degrees who've got the kind of qualities that they're looking for. So where will a TSM degree take me then? Actually, you could argue that it does have a vocational element in that the fact that you study two subjects intensively for this period of time, for example, if you are interested in a teaching career, this is the recognised qualification, and it makes you extremely well qualified to teach the subject you've studied. But in fact, only a very small proportion of graduates go into teaching. It's an option, but it's one which only a small proportion actually takes. So let's have a look at a few others. These are samples almost at random because there are, across the various subjects, about 350 TSM students graduate every year. So there's a lot of people going out into the job market every year. This is just picked almost at random. An administrator with the Burlington magazine and art magazine who studied BA History of Art and Architecture and French. You can see some kind of vocational link there, perhaps. An analyst with Facebook studied sociology and French. Again, maybe the sociology element's part of it. An analyst in regulatory consulting. I'm not actually sure what that is, but Deloitte's is a consultancy firm, yeah? BA Economics and History, plus an MSc. An editor with the publisher group, BA English Literature and Classics. A journalist with Public Affairs Ireland, BA English and German, plus a Master's in Journalism. A print finisher with Reed's Design, BA History and English. What's interesting there is that two of those people have done master's degrees, that maybe have given their undergraduate study a particular focus afterwards, and that's very common, of course, to do that. Let's sort of follow three career trajectories a little bit further on. Those examples I just gave you were first jobs, what people went into straight from graduating. Here you've got three people who've been working a little bit longer. The first one, Mary, who studied languages, started in a call centre, then worked on the EOP programme, which is like an intern placement programme in Europe run by IBEC, the Irish Business Education Council. She then worked in TEFL, which is teaching English as a foreign language, and became a language initiative coordinator, and is now a university senior administrator. Aoife, sociology and English, started in market research, then moved into the charity area and as a fundraiser, and now is a senior market research executive for UNICEF, a really top job in an NGO. Peter, philosophy and theology, had an internship with General Motors, worked for Jetfax and Capital Bars and for Smurfit, and is now a self-employed management consultant. I think that's a very interesting example. It's a couple of the sorts of subjects which, when people like to sneer at arts degrees and suggest how unvocational they are, these are sort of classic subjects that are picked up, and there he is working at the heart of the commercial management environment as a management consultant. Okay, if you think about the sectors that TSM graduates work in, they are extraordinarily wide. Interpreting and translating, legal, education and teaching, library and information, marketing, sales, journalism, media, publishing, development work, aid work, arts and culture administration, travel and tourism, administration, finance, software localization, public service, and so on. It goes on and on, this list. It's a very, it is in that sense, what used to be called a generalist degree, except that the TSM degree has the advantage that the two subjects you do, you're not doing at a general level. You are going into depth. You're really getting your teeth into those subjects. Just one further little narrative then of an example, somebody who studied English and German, graduated 10 years ago, is now third secretary in the Department of Foreign Affairs, started off in the press office, moved to the embassy in London, then came back to Ireland to work on the Balkan desk, and has now just recently been posted abroad again. There's a kind of international mobility, now a specialist in the diplomatic and political area, who began the degree with a classic arts degree, English and German. I don't know if you recognise this one. Somebody who studied TSM English and Philosophy in the mid-80s, Masters in Creative Writing from UEA in the UK. became an RTE producer, won the Man Booker Prize for her novel The Gathering in 2007, Anne Enright, the novelist, also a TSM graduate. And I mean, we could go on with this list, but I don't, telling you about the famous who did it is not so relevant in a sense as telling you the kind of the high level of the average performance of graduates on this program. So, where did 2011 AHSS graduates go? That's arts, humanities, social sciences. It's just that the statistical surveys don't capture specifically TSM, but it's as close a match as you could get. You see that 55% of them went straight into work, 32% did further study, and this I think perhaps is the trend, that's a growing number doing that. 4% didn't answer the survey and 9% were seeking work. So 90% of the people are doing either work or further training at that point, which is very much the figure it was in the mid-2000s. Of course the economy has hammered job prospects on some levels, but the fact still is that with the right degree and a good degree, and by the right degree I don't mean a vocational degree, I mean the right quality of degree, a good degree, you still have a very good chance of employment afterwards. Many people, that's one that is going to be a bit affected by the life, isn't it in here? It's really just to show you the kinds of further study that, can you see that up here? Not really very well. Middle one says what next? And then on the way around you've got examples, you've got the IT sector, you've got education, you've got, I've got my glasses on, you've got law, business, health and therapy. So various kinds of further study, which after a first degree in, broadly speaking, a TSM subject such as an art subject, people go off into many different directions. The 4 years of undergraduate study have given them a bit more of a sense of where they want to go, and then they will often do a postgraduate course. Many of our graduates take master's programs and PhDs, many of them at top universities internationally. And TSM graduates are working in the top universities in Ireland, in Europe and in the world as academics afterwards. That's one possible career route out of this program. The point I think I'm trying to make with that is it's specialist enough to give you a serious training if you want an academic career in a subject, but it's also wide enough to be of great interest to employers. So, how do I apply for TSM? First of all, you need to decide what subject you want to study. Come back to that point I made earlier. Secondly, check the prerequisites. Some subjects require a previous qualification, some languages, for example, but some other subjects too. I think that if you look on page 27 of this year's prospectus, you should find that. On page 28, you have the combinations. So check if the combination exists. Most do, but there's a few that don't. Apply for the specific combination you wish to study. Each has its own CAO code. The points requirements for it is the higher of the two subjects. If you look at the subjects on that list, you'll see that, let's say it's English and German, then there'll be a points requirement for English and a points requirement for German. The points requirement for English and German is the higher of those two numbers. And consider applying for more than one combination. If you want to do Irish, modern Irish, say whatever happens, and you don't mind what the second subject is quite so much, then consider applying for modern Irish and English, say, plus modern Irish and German, or put modern Irish and philosophy. Obviously, you may not want to use all your choices for that, but it's worth thinking about applying for several. Okay, that's the form. It does look a bit complicated. It's not as complicated as it looks. It's one of those, like those distance charts you used to get in the back of atlases. If you follow it across and down, you can find the combination you want, check that it exists, and check its CAO code for that, and consider applying for several combinations. Okay, the TSM course has a website. I'll finish with the address if you want to note it down. That site's full of information, further information. The course office is also extremely helpful and extremely willing to handle inquiries if you have any. You'll get the address in a moment if you want it. And just to close, I say good luck, and we hope to see you here. And thank you very much.